Hello and welcome to Scrapping on the Fly. My name is Kristen and I am here with what I'm hoping is my last Killikit Christmas Past video. I will do a layout share since I did not create all of these layouts on video. Actually, most of them I created off camera, so I have 3, I believe, more layouts to complete after this one. And so I'm going to get those done hopefully tonight and then do a flip through of all of my layouts, just a quick one. So I have some pictures of my son on Christmas 2 different years that I want to document. I want to use this glittered reindeer by Reminisce. I've had this for quite a while. I would say mid 2005, 2007, maybe as late as 2010, but not, I mean, it's been well over 10 years. So this is the main page I want to use. I thought I would bring in some of this Paper Studio North Pole production because it is glitter paper, so it will go well with my lovely glittery reindeer. So this is what I want to get working on, and I want to try and use up some of my stash that I have left in my bin. So I'm going to see what I can get done. I don't have a tutorial or a sketch or anything. I'm just going to put these down and use up a little bit of this paper and maybe some of the scraps that I have in here. Use up this paper and some stash. So we will see how that goes. All right, so the first thing I did was trim off the branding strip on this Reminisce glittered reindeer paper. And then I got into the North Pole production by the Paper Studio book and pulled out as many scraps as I thought I could attempt to use on this layout. And I was sticking with glittery for the most part, but it didn't necessarily have to be. I mean, there has to be somewhere for your eye to take a little break, although in the end there's not a lot of that. So I go through this book, and what I'm looking for is something to map my pictures on that is going to look good with that green reindeer. And I didn't want anything that really had green in it because I knew it wasn't going to be exactly the same color. So I cut my pictures into 4x4. So I cut this paper into 4.5 by 12. And I know there will not be a border on the sides, but I'm okay with that. So I get my pictures down, and I'm pulling these black and white stripes, which are very busy on their own. I would never have been able to make a full layout with that black and white stripe. It is very blinding. So I have these little strips that are leftovers from matting other things or whatever it was I used them for in other layouts. And I want to use those, and I want to use that long polka dot red glittery stripe. And I want to use up some of that red and white zigzag that matches what I've matted my pictures on. So I decided to put it pretty much right in the middle. I don't really measure, I kind of eyeball. That's what I'm good for. And I'm just playing around with these striped scraps to see what I want to do. So I have the option to lay one down with the stripes going vertical and one with them going horizontal, or I could trim it in a way that worked for me and make them both go the same direction, vertical. I could only do both of them vertical if I wanted to do them the same. So I just cut off that little bit up there in the top right corner, and then I laid down, they're pretty much even in their length. So I lay those down and get them glued or double-side taped down underneath there. And I love being able to use scraps this way because it doesn't matter how big or small it is. You can tuck a little scrap in and it just adds a little something extra. So I get this polka dotted strip, this polka dotted strip of paper, and I'm not too serious about where it's going to go, but I wanted it behind that black so it was not right on the red on both the top and bottom. I'm okay with it being on the bottom because I'm going to fix that by putting a embellishment down there to break up that red on red. So I get the black and white stripe down, and I get that red strip down, and I want a banner with that black and white stripe as well as that red and white zigzag to bring that same pattern in. And I already have a scrap of it over there on the right side. So I'm going to, well, off of my paper, not on my paper, but it's going to go up there on the top left on top of the banner, which is actually on the left. My page is upside down right now. So I'm trying to get it to where I know there's not a border on the top above that banner. I want it to be flush with the top of the page. So I get that down, and I ended up using my black soot Ranger ink pad, Distress ink, just to give it a little dimension on that white touching the red polka dotted strip that's there. So then I have this itty bitty little scrap of paper. It's like a tan almost, like a very light, more off-white. And it has some circles on there that are glittery that were cut off. And I, for some reason, thought it was a good idea to save this little piece. So I tucked that in, and it added a little bit of that off-white color. And then I cut this Merry Christmas off of a cut apart sheet that was in the book. And I want to tuck that in just to give it a little bit more non-glittery, because there's no glitter on this Merry Christmas stripe with the polka dots on it. It's just a little bit of green, and it's a little bit more or a little bit less busy. So I add one on the top and one on the bottom, pretty much in the same place. And then I've got this red and white stripe that matches, well, it was going to match the paper that I used, and I changed my mind and used this exact paper. So I cut that in half, put part of it on the top and part of it on the bottom. It's just a very thin strip of paper, and it's just a little shelf for all of that stuff to sit on the bottom, and then kind of like a top to finish up the top part above the Merry Christmas. And I'm going to add some embellishments to those so you can't tell that it ends abruptly where it says Merry Christmas, Merry, and then it says CHR. So I am going to finish that. I don't mind things to run off the page and not be finished, but I don't want them to stop in mid-sentence on the page. So these chipboard that look pretty well used, I got in a box of goodies on Facebook Marketplace, and I have used these on tons of layouts, most of them for that matter, and I just have enjoyed using them. They don't always match perfectly, but in my opinion, greens go with greens and reds go with reds. I am okay with them not being identical. The red in this stripe is not the same as the red in the zigzag because it's brighter and glittery, so I'm okay with that. So I get all of that down, and I pull out some different things. I'm trying to find some things to add, and I am all for adding embellishments and using up my stickers, but I don't want to just use something to use it. I want to get it somewhere that it fits and looks good. So I have this Recollections glitter pack that I was using for my December daily, and I really want to get them used up. There's a couple that I'm having a hard time with because they say like candy cane or whatever on them, so I'm going to figure that out. So I don't want this solid white to go straight down, so I find this paper that came from the same paper pad I've been using, and it's just got December 25th written all over it, and it's a green. So I tape it down and glue it down on there, and then trim it out a little bit because I don't want it to have a huge border. And I put that at the end of that little Merry Christmas banner so that you can't tell that it's just ending abruptly. And it just says it's the most wonderful time of the year, and it has red glittery letters on there, so it's very fitting. So then I pull out these fabulous NRN Designs reindeer. I have Santa Claus and I have the reindeer, and I haven't used a single reindeer, and I really wanted to get these used. I don't know how long I've had them. I mean, 10, 15 years. I don't know, long time. So I pull one off to put down there on the bottom to kind of hide. There's like a gap between that black and white stripe and the Merry Christmas, and it looks kind of odd, so I want to cover some of that up. So I put the reindeer down there, and it has little paws, hoofs. I guess it would be hoofs. It's a reindeer, Kristen. And so I put those down there, and I think it looks so cute. So then I decided to put another one up at the top, and I overlay it with that It's the Most Wonderful Time of Year, and put the hooves on the top part of the picture, which is fine because it's not covering anything but an empty box. So now I'm trying to figure out if I want to put those little shiny reindeer somewhere, and I think I've got enough reindeer on this page. Not only the background paper, but the little chipboard and the 2 reindeer that I just put on. So I want to use this Imagination. It is like a metal cutout. It's came with that same kit that had the chipboard, and I really like it. And my son definitely has a wild imagination. So I am looking for something to finish out my title. I could have left it at just Imagination, but I thought that I would add a little bit extra, so I pulled some Sticko alphas out. I have a ton of black Stickos in different fonts, and I don't mind that they are not exactly the same. So I just put, his Imagination, because if you can't tell, he has 2 different boxes of Legos, which I think is great for your imagination, and a poop emoji pillow. So, this is 2 different Christmases, and I write the date underneath after I get done with this title, and I think that that's about it. I have really enjoyed this series. I'm going to show you some close-ups in a second. I just hope that you all have enjoyed this. I'm going to finish the last couple layouts, and then I'm going to share the rest of it with you all as a quick flip through, just so you all can see all the layouts that I've completed with this kit, and a very short run through. I'm fixing my boo-boo here because I put the wrong year. Luckily, it was easy enough to fix. So, I guess that's it. I hope you all join me for my next adventure, and I hope you all have gotten some good stuff out of this. I hope you've have a good day, and happy scrapping.